Hey everyone, welcome to another video in this series about creating a chat app in Flutter the right way. And in this video, we'll be looking at creating our home UI, where we'll have our messages and our users online, where we can select from there our list of messages, where we can start or initiate chat between each other. And if it is your first time here, please consider subscribing, liking the video, sharing, and also to watch the previous videos so that you might get up to speed with what we are doing here. And so we'll go right into it. And for our home screen, I'm just going to go into our UI folder inside of our pages, and there I will create a home folder. And inside of our home folder, we will create our home page. So home dart, and this will be a stateful widget. Poured from material, and I tend to remove the keys since they are not needed here. So there we have our home page, and I'll just quickly replace our onboarding page here with our home screen. So we should have an empty page there. So for our home page, I am going to use a tab or the tab controller to represent the two pages that is inside of our home screen. That is the messages page and the online users page. So I'm going to make this into a default tab controller, and this will be at the top of my widget tree here, which is the parent. And I'll make the length 2 since I'll be having only 2 pages here. Then I'll make the scaffold the child. So now we have our scaffold. Can go ahead and give the app bar. Inside of our app bar, we want to add our profile image. So I'm just gonna use the title widget for that. So I'll set that to a container, and inside the container, I'll make the width to be the length of the tab bar itself, of the app bar itself, and I'll set the child here to be a row, and this row runs horizontally, so the row will have its set of children, and the first child I want to create another widget and call it profile image. So there will be a profile image widget as the first child for this row. So that, let us go ahead and create that. So inside of our widgets folder, again we'll go widgets, we'll create another folder called home, and inside that folder we'll create our profile image widget. And this will be a stateless widget. Then for our profile image, what I want here is a circular avatar. So I'll change this to circular or circle avatar. I'll make the background for this transparent. Then for its child, I will use a stack for its child because I want the image and I also want the online indicator. So I'll stack the online indicator on top of the image, and I'll use a stack fit. Set that to expand, and then the children, I'll add the profile image along with that online indicator. So for the profile image, I'm just gonna use a clipped rectangular here. Clip RR rect, and I'll just set the border radius to be border radius circular, and I'll just set it to be the size, which is 126. And then for its child, I'll just use the image. In this case, this will be a network image, which will be the profile image retrieved from the server. And I'll set it to the image URL variable that will pass in to this in the constructor of our profile image. So I'll set the URL there, and I'll give it a width of 126 and also height 126. Then I'll make the fit to be box fit. This will be fill. So now I need to go and create that variable. So I need the image URL variable here, which will be a string. And I will also accept another Boolean variable which tells whether or not the user is online. So this will tells whether or not to display the online user indicator. So I'm gonna make the image URL required, and then for the online, I am going to give it a default value of false. So now we have our clip rect, and we have our circular avatar set up for our profile image. So if we go here and back to our home page and import that, and if we should paste a URL here, which I'm using a image placeholder from this website. I'm just gonna set the online to true, and we should have our profile image being displayed. Here is our profile image being displayed there. So now for our online indicator, which is the next child in our stack, I'll go ahead and I'll use a align widget, and I'll set the alignment to be top right. So it be aligned to the top right of the stack, and then the child should be the online indicator. So in this case, if If it's online, then display the online indicator, which I will create. Otherwise, show a container. So now inside of our home widget here, we will go ahead and create our online indicator. So I'll say online indicator. Again, this will be a stateless widget. And for this, I'll return a container, the height of 15 pixels, width of 15 pixels, and then I'll give it a decoration, box decoration. This will make it circular. So for the color, I'm just going to give the color to be the key indicator bubble. We'll set our border radius to be border radius circular, and I'll just make this 20 pixels, and then the border, I'll give it a border all. I'll give it a width of 3 pixels, and also I'll give the color based on the theme. So I'm gonna check if it's a light theme, then the color should be white. Otherwise, the color should be black. Go ahead and save back to our profile image. Let me go ahead, import. There we have our indicator, online indicator being displayed. So now back to our home page. The next child in the row, I want to be a column which will hold the name and the word online, the name of the user and the word online. So I have a column for its children. The first child I want to be is or text, and we'll have the username. I'm just gonna add a username, any name for now. Give it a style, theme of get the text theme. I'm gonna make it style caption, then copy width, and I'll copy that with the font size being 14, and the font weight, I'm gonna make that bold. So font weight bold. And I'm also gonna wrap this text here. Just gonna wrap it in a padding widget and pad only the left side. Just gonna pad that by 8. So the next widget will be the same thing. So I'll go ahead and I'll copy all of this here, paste it, then this will be the word online, and I'll make the caption theme without the font styles. And there we have it, our app bar with the username and their online status being displayed. So next, inside of our app bar, for our bottom widget, this is where we want to add our tabs. So I'm going to add a tab bar here. Then for the tabs variable or property, I need 2 tabs. So I go ahead, create tab 1, and for its child, I'll create a container. I'll give it a decoration, box decoration, border radius, make that 50. So it's throwing an error because I have the number of tabs should match the length that I have added here to the tab bar controller. Now I have only a single tab. So for this tab, inside the container, I'm going to make the child of that container to be an align widget, and I'm going to make the alignment to be center. And then for its child, I'll add a text. So now I'll add a text, and this will be messages. So if I go ahead and copy this tab, then I should have my tabs here. But we need to style the tabs how we would like it to look. So for this tab, I'm just going to make the text active. So we have a messages tab and a active tab here. So to style our tab, we will go ahead and style it in the theme data so that the styling will be applied to both light and dark themes. So we'll go to our theme file here and we will create a tab bar theme. Create a tab bar theme, and there we can set the values or style our tab bar. So I'm going to set the indicator size to be tab bar indicator size label. I'm going to set the unselected label color to be black 54, and I'm going to set the indicator to be a box decoration, and this will have a border radius, circular border radius of 50, and I'll make the color to be the primary color. So now if we save that, nothing will happen. But if we go here to our theme data for light theme, and we'll set the tab bar theme to be our tab bar theme. Now if I save, then you see the theme applied there. For our dark theme, we'll set the tab bar theme to be the same tab bar theme, but this time I want to copy with, and I'm going to change the unselected label color I want to change that to be white. $70. So now if we should switch to dark mode, then our tab bar should be reflecting the change. Here we go. So now back to our home page. Inside of our scaffold here, we want the body to be a tab bar view, and here we'll have the chats view and the active users view. I'll just add container placeholders for now. So if I should change the color of this one, say colors blue, and we'll have our tabs, our tab view there. So for our tab bar view, we want two widgets. We want the chats widget and the online users widget. So again, we'll go to home, widgets, home. I'll create another folder, call that chats. Create another folder, call that active. And inside of chats, I will create that chats widget. I'll make this a stateful widget. And here I will return a list view instead, and I want it to be a separated list view. So for our builder, we'll go ahead, build context, and I'm not going to use the build context, so I'm just going to let that stay for now, and the index. And I'll create a function that will return each list item here. So for item count, I'll give it a hard-coded value of 3 for now. And for our separator, for a separator function, I'll simply return a divider. So now I'll create that function chat item, and this will return a list tile. So back to our home, we'll change this to be our chats. As you can see, we have 3 list styles with a separator. So back to our chats. In this list style, what we want is, for our chats, we want the profile image, the username, a summary of the last message, and the time that message was sent. So here, for the leading widget, there again, I'll just use the profile image widget here. Set online to true. There we have our profile images. Then we'll set the title widget to be a text field, text widget rather, and this will have the name of the person, and I'll just use a random name for now. And I want the style texting. There's a subtitle, copy width. I want the font weight to be bold, and the color if it is light theme, then the color should be black. Otherwise, the color should be white. Next, I am going to give it a subtitle, and for the subtitle it will be a similar thing. So I'll copy this text here, and this time it will be message preview. So just gonna write a message here, and the text theme this time will be overline, which is the smallest text available, and I'll remove the bold here. And for the color, when it's light theme, I want it to have a color of black 54 and white 70. So now we have our message being displayed there. Also for the text, I want to give it a maximum lines of 2, and I want the overflow to be text overflow ellipses, and soft wrap to be true, so that if the message is too long, it does not throw the view out of whack. So now for our next widget inside of the list style, I'll use the trailing widget. I'll make this into a column, and then for its children, I also want to set the cross-axis alignment to be at the end. Then for its children, I need a text. This will have the time of the message, of the most recent message, then the style, now make this overline also, and I'll copy with the same color as this. So I'll go ahead, copy this, and I'll say copy with, and I'll paste that in. So we have our text here, and next I'm gonna use a clip rect for the next child in this column. Give it a border radius, circular. I'm just gonna say 50 pixels. Then for its child, I'll make a container, and this container I'll give a height of 15 and a width of 15 pixels. Then I'll give it the color, the primary color, Then for its child, I'm just gonna copy this text here, and this will represent the number of unread messages, and I'm just gonna give it a number 2. The color is, the color here should be white. And this should be align center. So now we have our number of unread messages being displayed there. But I am going to wrap this in a padding widget, and I am going to pad only the top to give it some space and push it further down. Also, I want to go back to my theme information here and create a divider theme. So I'm going to say final divider theme. Divider theme data rather. I'm just going to say copy width, and I want the thickness to be 1.2 and the indent to be 75 pixels. So here inside my light theme, I'm gonna set the divider theme here. My divider theme, and I'm just gonna copy width, color. I want the color to be K icon light. So there it is. And then for my dark theme, I'll set the divider theme, copy width. Here I want the color here to be K bubble dark. So now back to our chats. Inside of our list style here, I'm gonna give it a content padding. Also add some padding to my list view itself. Make the top 30 pixels and make the right 16 pixels. There we have it. So now I'm gonna change gonna make this slightly smaller. Again, if we change to dark theme, then it should add up. Here we go. So now we have created our messages. Now we can go ahead and create our active widget. Let's go here to our active folder here, and we'll create active users. Go back to home and change this to active users. Now back to active users, what we want here is a list view separated just as was before. So I'm just gonna copy and paste. It's the very same thing. So there we have our separated list view with the same properties as the messages list view. And we also have one method here, list item, which we need to implement. And this list item is a list style that simply has a leading widget as a profile image, image URL. I'll copy this here. Online true. And then for the title widget, it will be a text with the username. Here we have our title widget as text, and this is all that is needed for our active users widget. So we have our messages there, and we have our active users. So now back to our states management, I want to create a qubit that handles the loading of those active users when we log into our home page here. So I'll go ahead and create home, and then I'll create a home qubit. I'll also create a home state, and this will be the states, which I'll quickly create here since you guys would have been accustomed to creating the states and the qubit by now. So here we have our home state, which is basically 3 states: initial, loading, and success. Then we can go ahead now and create our qubit. And for our qubit, it's pretty simple. we use the user service, and we will load the all online users using the user service. So first we'll emit a home loading, and then we'll get all online users, then we'll emit a home success there. So that is our qubit. So now inside of our composition root, let's go ahead and create or compose our home dependencies. So I'll go ahead and widget compose home UI. Then we'll just go ahead, return a multi-block provider. The child will be the home widget. And for our providers, now all I'm just gonna use is the home provider. So block provider, create build context, and I'll return just the home qubit for now. So that's it. Then back to our main. We'll use our composition root, compose home UI. So now that we have our qubit inside of our home UI, we can go ahead and fetch the data. So inside of our init state, we can go ahead and say context read home qubit call active call the method. And this read method is from the Flutter block library. So now we want to display, instead of displaying active, we want to display active and the number of active users. So for the child here, I am going to make this a block builder instead. So block builder, we have the context and our state. And I'm gonna say that if the state is home success, it's a home success state, then show the text, but show the text with the number of users. In this case, I'm gonna say state string interpolation here, state online users length. Otherwise, show the text with 0. So we have an error there. Let's see what the error is. I think our block builder here should have the correct qubit. So it should be home qubit and the correct state, which is home state. So go ahead, save. There we have active 5, which we have 5 users in our database currently. So now, to our active users, instead of returning a list view here, I'm just going to remove this from here. I'm going to place it in another method called build list. This list will take a list of users. It's going to call users here. And then it will pass the appropriate user to the list item. So list our users at index idx. And then our list item here will accept a single user. And then for our image here, it will use user profile photo URL, and for the name, username. Now here I want to return instead a block builder, and again this is gonna be home qubit, home state. For our builder, get the state, then I'm gonna say if the state is home loading, then I'm gonna return is a loader. So a center widget, child, this will be a circular progress indicator. And I'm gonna say if the state is home success, then I'll just return build list, and I'll pass in the online users from the state. Otherwise, I'll just return a container, empty container here. So now go ahead, reload, we have 3 users here, even though this is saying 5. So we need to figure why that is happening, and I think I know why, because we have 3 here instead of users length. So now the other 2 should show up. So now we are fetching the active users from the database, and again can go ahead, change it to dark theme to see how that looks. There we have our dark theme. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Remember that the code is on GitHub that you can check out, and remember to like, share the video with friends if you are enjoying the series so far. So see you in the next